Hey, welcome to my daily update about what's either on my mind or in the news or something I can shed light on. And today I found a really good subject that I haven't discussed yet, kind of because I've been talking about it almost constantly since I started working in Nepal, and that's this violence against women and girls. And I watched an Al Jazeera documentary about FGM, female genital mutilation, and it was very disturbing. Even though I know about FGM, I've heard about it, I've seen documentaries, but this documentary that just got released, I think today, was just so you know deep in the way that they portrayed it through a woman who had been from a culture where that does have FGM, and she was kind of just lucky that it didn't happen to her, basically. And she goes to the places where they do it the most, and she talks to the women who do the surgery, and they're showing with their hand like the kind of motion of like taking a razor blade, and it's just really crazy. It was just like I was very kind of disturbed by that video, but I watched the whole thing because it is such an important topic. And there's been a lot of news about Donald Trump and about North Korea and about this Las Vegas shooting, and definitely I have sympathy for all of these big problems. But for me, I've been working out in Nepal, and learning about these things like human trafficking and slavery through Kamlari system, which is like a type of indentured service that happens from poor families selling their daughters for service, for labor, for marriage, for all these different things, for human trafficking into India. And so, yeah, my point is that, we hear about these stories that sound really crazy, and but a lot of the kind of craziest things in the world are not really maybe heard about or as sensationalized, even though they're pretty huge stories. I think people sometimes document them. It's not that they're unreported, but they're very underreported, and there's just so many individual stories that are going unknown. So I think that's what I mean when I say it's unreported, is that, yeah, maybe there's some documentation or some press coverage of it, but it's so little that it's only a few stories. It's not actually kind of, I think the type of things that are happening to women and girls in Nepal, like if it happens one time in the West, like you're going to hear about it, or you want to hear about it, or it gets documented, it gets reported on. But when there's thousands of cases happening, it just in the world doesn't know what's happening. I think this whole issue is why I've been inspired to spend so much time as a filmmaker, photographer in Nepal, try to get as close to the villages that have these problems, and try to help as much as possible by creating resources for improving their lives as a community, as a family, and also kind of improve access to media where they can tell their stories and they can get help for different things. And I've connected with psychological experts who understand some of the post-traumatic stress and issues that girls have. So I've kind of taken a break from this subject a little bit, even though it's still such a huge focus for me, because now I'm launching a new project. We've already launched, is building a new school, and it's focused on environment and agriculture and farmers. But the kind of secret, or it's not a secret, it's that this whole mission of girls, helping women and girls, is totally linked and embodied with this issue of helping farmers, the poorest people. Those are the people that are vulnerable to the violence against women, like the people that have the most poor living conditions it's generally women and girls who are having to do the most labor and the most kind of suffering from poverty. So um, by helping the poorest people specifically, like farmers, helping them improve their income and improve their just social standing, then it's actually pretty much not that hard to reduce this type of violence against women if you can make a space like I'm building. I've built a few structures already in Nepal, and this is the first time I'll be building a dedicated school. We've used spaces for school, we've rented spaces for schools and tuition center and different things like that. But this is the first center that's specifically for skill development. And not only will it help people learn at the center, but will also gather information, process information, and publish information, which is free online, free through different platforms like printouts and things like that, and then take that information through our vehicle, like our eco-mobile, take that around the country when we have the chance to connect with some of the more remote people. And so I'm really excited about evolving everything that I've worked for in Nepal for this mission of doing something that can on a wide level help the youth and the youth in Nepal and the new generation, and help eradicate some of the traditions that are hurting the country. Because not only is there an economic and environmental link, there's an environmental link to helping women and girls, but there's also a major economic link that there's unmet. We want to create economic participation, more economic participation within the family by maximizing space that people have, whether they own their land or not. We want to help families earn more money and have less dependency on the type of things that can hurt their daughters and wives and things like that. So this is an idea that in Nepal is very supported. If you bring tools and solutions to people, there's really never opposition to it. This is a country that sometimes it's hard to make it clear to people that just because these conditions are really bad for women, it's not because people are against women advancing in the world. It's really just because we're looking at an ancient culture that has had very little outside exposure, very little investment, very little infrastructure, anything from the outside world. So I think that we as educated and as governments, as the educated, the higher people, we are the ones that are responsible for eradicating the things in the more poor communities by helping them ourselves and seeing to it that they have the resources required to abandon the things that are hurting themselves and hurting everybody, hurting the environment, hurting the generation. And so I think some countries are maybe more against empowering women, but the really great thing about why I've chosen to work in Nepal is because people are so supportive of this concept that if you want to help women and girls, it's something that nobody ever is saying that I'm doing something taboo, or everybody understands the value. The reason these things are happening is because the reason these problems keep going is because there's no investment, there's no applied technology and education by the educated and wealthy people. They're not doing enough for the people that have nothing. You can't just expect people to magically change. You have to build training centers like we're doing. And it's not just a training center like a brick and mortar school. We also want to have an online platform and a way that anybody with a mobile phone can get connected to our concept. And we're not reinventing the wheel. Facebook has this Facebook Zero, or let me say, it's like, yeah, free basics. So you can download this Facebook app, and it's got all this information about reproductive health and just different resources for finding jobs and stuff like that. So this is applied technology. We're not inventing new technology. We're just helping spread awareness and give sort of tutorials to people how to use basic things that already exist. So it's a really simple concept, really, that just requires human energy and the building materials. That's what I'm raising money for. I already have the land. I have the car, the truck that we can transport anything we need. And so, yeah, that's why I've been talking a lot about the environmental side, because I kind of thought that the environmental issue is something that people understand more globally than the whole women and girls thing, which is a little bit harder to stomach for people or to comprehend, because you kind of can't, it's hard to understand these things until you see it firsthand. I was in Nepal, I was in the room for arranged marriages among men, talking about girls getting married. I was in the wedding, doing filmmaking for the, arranged marriage where girls are crying, and I was right there. I was right involved in this whole thing of just seeing it happen, and still it's hard to comprehend even when you see it right there. So it sometimes kind of feels hard to demonstrate or express this issue to people, because it is very hard to hear, especially this FGM. And I shared a link, and I don't see how anybody wants to watch something about FGM, female genital mutilation, or violence against women. I mean, it seems like most people don't really want to think about it, because it's basically just like nightmares in your mind or something. So I think that I've been trying to focus more on the environment, because it does seem like, to me, an issue that everybody can kind of understand more, because there's a lot more information about global warming, and people like Al Gore and Leonardo DiCaprio. It's a major issue that people are aware of. And so I just it's new for me to be focusing on the environmental side. So I'm a little I'm seeing now that I should really continue on with the message about women and girls, because that's what I have the most experience with in my documentation and my travels in Nepal. That's what I've been studying the most. And I do have a lot of experience with environmental things like green building and reforestation that I've done. It is something I feel more experienced in environmental issues, but I do like focusing on the subject of the violence against women, and so I think I'm just going to mention them at both times, at the same time, and kind of take time for both subjects, because they're both major issues in the world. They're both very connected, the environment and women, teaching reproductive health, family planning for overpopulation. So yeah, they're kind of one and the same. So if you've ever watched my work in Nepal or supported any of my projects, seen what we've done, what other people have supported, this is a really good chance to help us build this school. So I'm going to post the link. And also, yeah, I'm going to be updating that project. I just posted a picture of the land that we have, and it's a really exciting project. So if you want to be like a teacher to come volunteer, that's really great. I love to host people that are nurses or anything like that. It's really great, because I think I've talked a lot about the environmental side, but then there's really is a big side of this training center that's about supporting women and about livelihood, kind of business skill development and family planning, reproductive, maternal health type of issues, and even things like self-defense. I just posted a video on YouTube, how I usually am training girls with stick fighting and stuff, because they need to learn how to. I was a Boy Scout, and I think you need to know how to use a knife, and they already know how to use knives for their farming. So teaching the stick self-defense is cool. And just kind of a basic training and kind of, some basic information, essential living knowledge, life skills. That's what I want to be training people, and not just women and girls, but anybody, farmers. That's why I'm trying to broaden our perspective on who we can be focusing on, because all farmers should come and learn, and families should learn how to make more money and save resources, and that's what I'm dedicated to creating with this new school. So thanks for following, and thanks to the people who have already supported this project, and all the people that shared it. I really appreciate it. We have to keep doing that, and hopefully we'll get this project. I think it'll for sure be started this year, because we have already raised a little over $1,000. So it's something that can be started before we've raised the whole money, because even $1,000 is enough to buy a good amount of building materials. And yeah, it'll be fun to just kind of get it started and just keep raising money until we get it done. So it's going to be fun, and I look forward to broadcasting more updates soon. All right, thank you.